What is a single factor that makes an anime go from something you don't even remember watching to something you could not forget? Yep, you guessed it right. A good villain.
Every good hero needs a villain. They test the hero's limits and represent the series' central themes through ideological opposition.
And over time, anime villains have evolved. Instead of being purely evil, they have become more complex and interesting characters with detailed backstories, plausible motivations, and a realistic outlook on life, which gives their characters a unique depth. These characteristics make them fascinating and sometimes even relatable to fans.
And besides, despite their evil acts, some anime villains are simply too cool to hate.
So without further ado, let us get started.
Number 10, Eins Ulgaun. Eins Ulgaun, ruler of Nazarik's great tomb, begins the list. Regardless of how funny the guy is or his clumsy, over-the-top reactions, we must remember that Eins is one of the few anime characters to have committed mass genocide. Eins has wiped out the entire army of enemy nations with no mercy toward anyone. If we look at textbook definitions, Eins checks all the boxes. Eins' overwhelming power distinguishes him. With godlike abilities, a vast array of spells, and unrivaled combat skills, he commands fear and respect. This immense power is matched by his strategic genius. Eins meticulously plans and outwits his opponents, cementing his dominance in the game world. Besides, his moral ambiguity strengthens his character. While Eins occasionally demonstrates compassion, he also engages in morally dubious behavior to maintain his position and achieve his objectives, keeping viewers interested in his unpredictable journey.
Number 9, Muzan Kibutsuji. Unlike many other villains, Muzan is pure evil. None of his actions can be justified, and no one would try to do so. He has been killing innocent people for 1,000 years. It was because of Muzan that nights were not safe anymore. Throughout the year, he has been the main source of terror for the demon slayers. Muzan got the beating of a lifetime from Yoriichi, and though calling him the strongest might be a stretch, it made him more dangerous and cunning. This defeat only fueled his evil plans further, and as we draw close to the final fight between Muzan and the demon slayers, you'll soon see just how powerful he really is. The sheer power he possesses is displayed in a way that few villains in shonen ever get to show.
Number 8, Sosuke Aizen. Sosuke Aizen, or should we say the greatest manipulator in all of anime. The question of the most evil villain comes to a halt with the mention of Sosuke Aizen's name. Aizen doesn't believe in compassion for either his allies or enemies. He sees everyone the same, someone he could dispose of once they'd outlived their usefulness. He is both a genius and a truly evil being, masterminding every major incident in Bleach. He basically has the entire universe of Bleach in the palm of his hand. What makes Aizen one of the greatest villains is his lack of a clear motive. He doesn't have a tragic backstory or preach about the world's unfairness. Aizen's actions are driven purely by his own selfish desire to find someone strong enough to challenge him. He doesn't aim to create a world that fits his ideals. He acts simply because he can.
Number 7, Light Yagami. Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts completely. Who else aside from Light can provide a good example of this? When 17-year-old Light Yagami gets his hands on the Death Note, his moral compass begins to erode. As his power grows, so does his god complex. Nobody is born a villain. It is the circumstances that shape them, but Light chooses to be one. He had a perfect life prior to receiving the Death Note, but he transformed into a psychopathic killer who cared only about his own twisted concept of justice.
Number 6, Askeladd. Have you ever thought about how different the Vinland Saga would have been if not for Askeladd? Askeladd was the first major antagonist in the Vinland Saga. He is the pirate bandit captain who assassinated Thorfinn's father, making him a formidable opponent for the young Thorfinn. Askeladd was a cunning, manipulative, ruthless, cruel, and charismatic individual. He is an excellent swordsman and a formidable fighter, but his greatest strength is his intelligence and strategic mind, which he frequently employs when ordering young Thorfinn to do his bidding. Askeladd had a keen mind and would frequently use cheap tactics and cruelty to achieve his goals, as we all witnessed when he murdered Thor.
Number 5, Frieza. Frieza is perhaps one of the cruelest villains not only in shonen but anime as a whole. He has committed full-on genocide against several species, including Goku's race, the Saiyans. Also, he was one of Goku's first and foremost foes in the Dragon Ball Z series. Frieza pushed Goku to such great lengths that he triggered his Saiyan powers. But the thing that makes Frieza a great villain is his unapologetically evil personality. Fear, intimidation, and execution are his tools that he uses, even against those who work for him. And unlike many villains with tragic backstories, Frieza is simply cruel. He is intelligent, ruthless, vicious, and powerful. He despises pity and has no guilt or remorse, except for not totally wiping out the Saiyans. Empathy is a foreign concept to him, and he has no emotional attachments, not even to his own universe. Frieza believes himself to be the best and most powerful, carrying himself with an elegance that belies his brutal nature.
Number 4, Eren Yeager. How can we forget Eren Yeager, the once heroic protagonist of Attack on Titan, who turned into a dark, mass-murdering figure, almost destroying the entire world? Eren started out as kind and considerate, but his journey took a dark turn. turn. Some of the things he did were too much, even for a villain, like killing his own mother in front of his younger self. This act stands out as a particularly horrifying moment. Throughout the series, we see Aaron's manipulation and violent tendencies grow. He was always ready to use others to achieve his goals, no matter the cost. His calculated moves and relentless pursuit of his goals showed just how far he was willing to go. Aaron's transformation from a hero to a villain is marked by these traits, making him a complex and chilling character.
Number 3, Griffith. Griffith embodies the dark side of humanity, forsaking goodness to achieve his grandest dreams, driving the story of Berserk. His multifaceted character captivates as he balances ambition, rivalry, and friendship, particularly with Guts. Despite his monstrous deeds, Griffith's humanity shines through his flaws, such as pettiness and jealousy, adding depth to his villainy. His relentless pursuit of ambition, fueled by his rivalry with Guts, demonstrates his belief that friendship and competition can coexist. Guts serves as both a rival and a friend, a stone for Griffith to sharpen his sword and mind, igniting his ambition. While Griffith commits heinous acts, his occasional good deeds hint at a more complex character, showing he's not merely evil for evil's sake. This duality makes him a compelling antagonist, loved and hated in equal measure. Despite his selfishness and lack of remorse, Griffith remains true to himself, a cunning schemer driven by ambition.
Number 2, Madara Uchiha. Madara Uchiha, the name in itself held such immense power that it accomplished an unprecedented feat of uniting the 5 shinobi nations and started the 4th Great Ninja War. Revered as a legendary ninja, the mere mention of his name struck fear into the hearts of many. And who can forget that legendary introduction?
Wake up to reality. Nothing ever goes as planned in this accursed world.
Despite his legendary status, Madara was portrayed as undeniably human, which resonated strongly with audiences. He struggled with common issues, such as the fear of losing his brother, and dedicated himself to creating a safe haven in the Hidden Leaf for his sibling. As the leader of the Uchiha clan, he was responsible for their well-being, demonstrating his humanity amidst his formidable power.
Number 1, Meruem. Meruem solidifies his place among the greatest villains of all time from the very first moment he was introduced. When he ripped himself free from his mother, his presence brought a genuine sense of dread and terror, making him one of the most memorable villains in anime history. Meruem's strength and ruthlessness were unparalleled, although he was only 40 days old at the time, and even then, the only person deemed suitable to face him was the Hunter Association chairman, Isaac Netero, the most powerful nen user in the world. Their epic battle ended with Netero having the last laugh. However, his character development was so enthralling that by the time he died, Meruem had become an almost tragic figure. Meruem's journey from a monstrous being to a more nuanced character highlights the depth of characters in Hunter x Hunter, solidifying his place as one of the greatest anime villains of all time. There is a reason why Hunter x Hunter is often hailed as the best shonen anime of all time, and much of that credit goes to Meruem.
And there you have it, folks. Those were our top 10 greatest anime villains. What's your take on the list? Let us know in the comments below. And remember to hit that like button and subscribe to Anime Facts for more exciting content. Until next time, stay tuned for more thrilling adventures.